into real estate with zero money, with 12 different strategies to get into real estate with zero money down. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I'm going to break down how you can get zero money down real estate. I'm actually going to talk about 12 of my favorite options for you to actually be able to invest into real estate and do it with no money down. Now, a lot of these strategies you can even combine, and you could do this for multiple different properties. So, I mean, literally, you're going to leave this training with 12 different strategies to get into real estate with no money down. And you're even going to be able to combine these strategies to really build a real estate empire, build an entire real estate business where you're just investing in real estate. Because again, I mean, how many properties would you buy? How big would your real estate empire become if you can get in with no money down? Well, a lot of people think it's not possible. It absolutely is. And there's so many different options that I'm about to break down my 12 favorite right now. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. Okay, so when we're talking about investing into real estate, there's a couple things you have to do before we dive into the 12. Number one is you have to know what your goal with the real estate is. And there's really two sides to this coin. You're either going to fix and flip some variation. You're going to buy the property, do improvements, and sell the property. Your goal here is not to hold the property. Your goal here is to get the property, do whatever you're going to do to make it worth more money, and then get rid of it for more money than you bought it for. By the way, Mike South is in the house from Lake of the Ozarks, Ice Cream Boat. I love it. LOTOICB. Thanks for coming in, Mike. Appreciate you coming in and saying hi. Give me your company name here in the live stream, and I will actually give you a shout out live here as well. So we've got to figure out, first of all, what our goal is. It's either fix and flip, some variation of buying and selling the property quickly for a profit. The second thing is we buy and hold. And this could have multiple variations too. We could be looking for a long-term rental just to put the renter in the actual property that we're in. I'm in a short-term rental right now. I'm actually in an Airbnb rental right now. So short-term rentals are another way that we can go with buy and hold. But you've got to know which of these two objectives you're going to accomplish, because there's real estate for options for both. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't even have to choose one, okay? I know a lot of people that do fix and flip to get the cash. Then they're investing that cash into long-term hold properties. That's okay. But you need to define what your goal is, because there's financing for each of these different avenues that we want to go down. So once you know what you're trying to do initially, are you trying to buy and hold, or are you trying to fix and flip? Now we get to the second thing, is you have to determine the asset class that you're actually in. There's a lot of assets classes in real estate, right? So we could look at single family homes, right? We could look at multifamily homes or apartment complexes. Grant Cardone does a lot of those. We talk about commercial real estate. Maybe we're actually buying some kind of building. Maybe it is that we're looking for storage units. I know people that are friends of mine that invest in mobile home parks, right? Or maybe we're doing land or lifestyle projects. Maybe we're doing land investing. I mean, look, I can go on and on. There's a lot of different types of asset classes. Okay, one of my best friends, he is in the luxury Airbnb short-term rental asset class. I mean, there are sub-asset classes of asset classes. So you really need to decide, are you fixing, flipping, or buying and holding? And the second thing you need to determine before we talk about these 12 strategies to be able to get in with no money down is you need to determine the type of asset class that you're going to buy. Because once again, there's specialized financing for commercial real estate versus single family home, right? There's specialized financing for land versus actually coming in and buying storage units. So we've got to figure this stuff out, because knowing those 2 points of fix and flip or buy and hold is the first point. And the asset class you're choosing, that's going to determine the options of financing that become available for you. So, and by the way, hi, Coach Adudu LLC from Oregon. Thank you very much, Pauline and Scott, for coming in and saying hello. Okay, so give me your company name here in the actual chat. I'll give you a shout out on the live stream. Thousands of people see this. It's like free advertising, free exposure. You can't beat it. So just give me your company name in the chat. Okay, so now we figured out these 2 things. The next thing is how can we actually get into real estate with no money down? Here's my top 12 strategies. Number 1 is wholesaling. And wholesaling is ultimately where we are basically buying a property, okay, and then we are moving it to somebody else that's another investor in that asset class, and we're just making a little bit of a profit. So for example, I do a lot of land investing personally, done it for years, love land investing, and I do my share of wholesaling properties where I put out a bunch of offers to buy land, people actually come in and they say, hey, will you buy my land? I submit formal offers. They say, yes, I'll accept your offer. They accept my offer and I buy it for $20,000. And then I go find another real estate investor and say, hey, man, I just want to make this thing I bought for, let's say 10K. It's worth 20K. There's $10,000 in profit. I'm going to keep 5. You keep 5. And I'll just transfer I'll transfer the contract over to you. That's what wholesaling is. And wholesaling is a true no money down real estate option because there's no money even exchanged. You're going to a seller, you're agreeing to buy it, you're signing a contract, of course, knowing that you got a lot of room in the deal financially, that you've got money to make. Then you go to another real estate investor that could fix it, flip it, that could sell it, that could do whatever they're going to do. And you just assign the contract to them. You sign the contract over to them. You make 1,000, 2,000, 5, 10K, whatever it is you're going to make. And you move on about your day and you find more sellers that are looking to sell. And when you do it, you get them under contract and you transfer the contract to another investor and you take your cut and you move on. So wholesaling is really one of the best ways to get into real estate with little to no money down because it truly requires no money down. It just requires your efforts with going out and finding sellers that are wanting to sell. And L. Parker's in there working at work listening. L. Parker, thanks for joining us. Number 2 of my 12 methods to be able to get money with no money down is called the BRRRR method. Now, the BRRRR method, like many of these that I'm going to discuss, is a multi-phase strategy. Okay. So BRRRR stands for buy. Okay, then we basically rehab, we refinance, we rent, we repeat. So that's ultimately what BRRRR stands for. So we're buying a property and I'll talk about multiple ways that you could do BRRRR, a lot of these strategies we're talking about. You buy a property, then what you're basically doing is you're rehabbing the property, fixing it up. Then you go ahead and if you're going to keep it for long-term hold, you put a renter in there. Now we refinance, take the cash out of the property because now it's worth more after we fix it up, and then we repeat that process. So BRRRR method is one strategy that you could use to be able to get into real estate with no money down. But in order to do it, you're going to have to combine some of these other strategies. Once I go through these 12 methods with you, you'll see how you're able to combine them to actually be able to get even more money with no money down. The BRRRR method requires that you be able to buy and or rehab the property. So we're going to talk about how you can do both of that. And that brings me to number 3. This is my favorite type of real estate investing loan, and this is called a DSCR. Now, a DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio, and the way that a debt service coverage ratio works is it's stated income. So it's not W-2. They're not looking at our income. They don't need you to provide any kind of income verification. It's just based on the property that you're buying cash flowing. And this can work for long or short-term rentals. So for example, if I'm going to buy a property and it's worth, and I'm going to spend $5,000. Well, let's just say I'm going to buy a property. I'm going to spend $2,000 a month on the mortgage payment. Well, then with the DSCR loan, they want to know that I'm bringing in enough rent to cover that mortgage payment. Now, preferably, DSCR loans would like you to have a 1.2 or 1.25% coverage ratio, which means if I have a $1,000 mortgage payment, they'd like me to make 25% more than that in rent. So if I have somebody that can rent the property for $1,250 and my mortgage is only $1,000, that's a debt service coverage ratio of 1.25. But a lot of lenders will go down to just 1, even sometimes below 1, which means if your rent is close to or equal to whatever your mortgage payment, taxes, insurance is, then you can typically get the loan. Now, what I like about DSCR loans is that they are stated income, so it works very good for us, those of us that are are owners of businesses, right? So maybe our pay isn't all on W-2. Well, this works very good for us. DSCR goes up to 90% financing. I know. You're on a stream about how to get zero money down, and that's okay. Remember, what I said is that we're going to talk about 12 strategies today, but you're going to need to know that you're going to be combining these strategies to be able to get to zero money down. So even though with the DSCR, I need 10% down, I'm going to talk to you even in my next option with how to get that 10% money to put down. Now, what's nice about DSCR loans is you can get a bunch of them, right? So I can go buy 10 properties and only have to put 10% down on each one of them. Then I can use another kind of financing to get that 10% down. And that is how we strategically and smartly invest into real estate, is that we combine funding strategies. And DSCR is one of the best to combine with because it is stated income and because you can get up to 90% financing on investment properties. That's crazy, right? If we go through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, if we go through these type of loans are going to require 20, 30% down on investment properties. Private investors are going to want 35% down on investment properties. But with DSCR, a true investment property stated income only needs 10% down. It's why it is my favorite type of financing, especially if you are going to buy and hold real estate. Now, again, we got to get you the 10% down. So how do we get the 10% down? Well, that brings me to credit card stacking, which is my fourth funding strategy. Now, credit card stacking, I love, and here's why. First of all, credit cards are one of the easiest kind of financing you can get. They're way easier than loans. They're way easier than credit cards. I mean, you can get them as a brand new business. You can get them if you're just starting as a real estate investor. All you need is good personal credit, or someone around you has good personal credit. Maybe another investor, mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, whoever it may be. If you have somebody that's willing to sign with good personal credit, you can usually get 5 to 8 times the amount of whatever your highest revolving credit limit account is now. So if I have a Chase credit card for $20,000, right now I have a Chase personal credit card for 20K limit, well, then I'm going to probably get 100,000 or more with credit card stacking. And what they're ultimately doing is they're taking credit cards, a funding source goes out and gets you maximum funding. So what they're doing is they're using credit cards and they're getting you 5 to 8 of these with $10, $20, $30,000 limits. Added up, it's all 100, 150,000 in funding. Here's the best part. You could take the cash out of these at 0% interest. It's why I call this program credit line hybrid, because even though they are cards, the benefit of 0% is the benefit there. Credit lines let you take cash out without paying high interest APRs. But if you combine this strategy, then what you have is you have credit line hybrid, where you're able to get credit cards, but get the cash out of those credit cards at 0%. So now you can take the cash out at 0% and you can use it to buy all types of real estate. By the way, this is the #1 type of real estate financing that I've ever seen. It is the most popular. It is the most common used by real estate investors. They love it because unlike other types of financing that won't lend to real estate investors because it's high risk, almost anybody can get this if you have good credit or someone around you that does. Now we look at combining strategies. So let's say I go out and I want to buy a house worth $200,000, right? And now I'm going to keep the property and I go and get a DSCR loan. Well, the DSCR loan requires that I have 10% down. Well, that's $20,000. Well, now I can come in and use credit line hybrid to get me the $20,000 at 0%, might I say, to then cover that 10% needed for DSCR. So now I got 90% financing to do a DSCR loan, got the other 10% from credit card stacking, and I'm coming in with truly zero money out of pocket. So credit card stacking is my fourth and one of my absolute favorite ways to be able to get into real estate with no money down. That brings me to #5. It goes by a lot of different names. Two of the most common are fix and flip financing and house reseller program. Now with fix and flip and with house reseller, you can get 100% of the money you need to buy and rehab a property. It works very similar to a construction loan. So if you are familiar with or ever gotten a construction loan, the way construction to perm loans work is that you come in, you get a construction loan, and then basically the lender releases money in draws as certain pieces of the project are done. So when the builder lays the foundation, they get a payment. When the builder frames the house, they get a payment. And then there's inspections after every stage. So this is done to make sure the builder does the stage, it's inspected, it's good, funds are released. House reseller fix and flip works exactly the same way. You could basically get 100% of the money you need to buy the property because you're buying it below value. Then they release the money in draws to the contractor that's doing the repairs until the repairs are all done. And then you flip the property, right? It's called fix and flip financing. So it's usually 6 to 12 month term is all it is. Companies like Lima One will truly lend you money when you have no experience, no money in escrow, average credit. It's not even looking at that, just looking at the property to make sure that the property can be sold for a profit. If you find the right property and right deal, you can get fix and flip financing all day long with average credit, no cash, no experience. You can come in as a starting real estate investor, get it. And fix and flip financing can be gotten by multiple times. So you can have 12 different kind of fix and flip financing loans open. So another way by itself, you could truly get in with no money down if you're looking to fix and flip. Now that brings me to number 6 of 12 different ways you can get into real estate with no money down. And this is business credit. Now, I love business credit, and a lot of our investor clients do. There's a reason that real estate investors are one of our top industries we service, because business credit's very beneficial to that industry. Why? Because if we look at this property I'm in, this is a short-term rental that I'm in right now, right? So if I look at this property and I look around, I have plates and dishes in the kitchen. I have a dining room table here. I have couches behind me, refrigerator, appliances, beds. You get the idea, right? 100% of everything that's in this unit, you could use business credit to buy. I can get business credit at IKEA for most of the furniture. I can get business credit at Amazon for all of the dishes, for example. I can get business credit at Best Buy or Sears, even for that matter, or not say Sears is probably a bad example, but let's just go with Best Buy, and I can be able to use that for appliances, right? So what happens is everything in a property that I need to buy, I can use business credit to buy. And this is why we want to combine funding strategies. I don't want to use credit line hybrid to go get $150,000 and then use my $150,000 to buy all the furnishings for this property. That's a waste of my money. I want to get $150,000 from credit line hybrid and use it to buy real estate. Then I want to be building business credit and using business credit to pay for the furniture and the appliances and the dishes and the toiletries and everything else that goes in the actual unit. So real professional investors are experts at business credit because they're conserving their loans and their credit lines for real estate acquisition. And then they're using business credit to buy all of the stuff that goes in the property. Then they put a renter in there. Then they use the money from the renter to pay off those credit cards. So business credit's one of those strategies we want to combine with other types of financing to be able to truly get in with no money down. Not just buy the property, but if we're going to put a short-term renter in there, Airbnb, for example, or a long-term renter in a furnished property, we can use business credit to buy all the furnishings that we're actually going to need to buy. Number 7 on my list is one of my newest favorites for 2025, and it is personal loans and personal loan stacking. Now, so many people, because we specialize in business financing, say, I don't want business financing, personal financing. I want business financing. Keep in mind, business financing is based on business revenue. It's based on business credit. It's based on business collateral. So if you don't have these assets in a business, then you might not qualify for a lot of other kind of business financing that's out there. All personal loans is they're based on personal credit, personal income, and personal collateral. So if you have the personal side but don't have the business side, then you want to look at these type of income-based loans. There's even personal loan stacking, which our clients are loving right now. And personal loan stacking is where we're combining these personal loans. Look, one of my mentors that has taught me to buy land came to me the other day when he heard our presentation to his audience on personal loan stacking and said, I want this. I'm trying to put a pool in my backyard. This is perfect for me. So even the gurus that teach the gurus in the industry are using this kind of financing for their personal and their business life. So personal loans or income-based loans, personal loan stacking, very effective way to get money to grow your business. You could grow your real estate business. You get hundreds of thousands of dollars based on your personal income to be able to invest into real estate. So this is one of my favorite options for 2025 in general for funding, especially for real estate. Now we're going to talk about number 8 on my list. And number 8 on my list is revenue-based financing. Now, revenue-based financing, what we're doing is using a business we already have, and we're basically borrowing against the future revenue of the business. That's what's happening. It's actually kind of a form of factoring, right? Because what we're ultimately doing is leveraging our future revenue as collateral to be able to get money. And so all we need to qualify here is 6 months worth of revenue. And we can usually get 15 to 20% or higher of our annual revenue advanced to us. So if we already have a business, real estate or not, that we've got a lot of money consistently coming into, well, then we can use the money coming into this business as collateral to be able to get financing up to $500,000. That's right. We can get $500,000 in this kind of financing. And all we need is some kind of revenue in a business that we're actually using as collateral to be able to get approved. That brings me to number 9 of 12 on my list. And this is called a ROBS program, self-directed IRA as well, retirement account financing. And with this, we are using a 401k or IRA, and we are basically avoiding any tax penalties, and we are rolling over the funds from where it is into a new account that is actually an account we could use for whatever purpose that we may choose. Now, this is the number one kind of financing I see real estate investors are using to actually sell their real estate. They're actually getting people to come in and go out and use the self-directed IRA or ROBS program to take their 401k and IRA and invest in the real estate they are selling. So this is a phenomenal way to be able to fund your real estate business if you have stocks or if you have 401k and or an IRA, or someone around you does. There's no tax penalties. You're talking about interest as low as 5%. You can get a loan or a credit line. Okay. So we had a retired police officer that was, basically had a bar. He was looking to be able to get money, $25K. He was denied at his bank and got $750,000 with this kind of financing. All you need is like a 401k or IRA with $25K, and you can usually get approved for as much as 90 to 100% of the value of that 401k and IRA. And this brings me to number 10 of 12 ways to invest in real estate on my list. That is called securities-based financing. It is looking at stocks and bonds as collateral to be able to get financing. Now, this is my favorite kind of financing overall. Of every kind of business financing that exists, this personally is my favorite, and I'll tell you why. It's like double dipping. If I have money in the stock market, it is earning me a return. Hopefully, it's earning me a return. With securities-based financing, I'm able to keep my stocks and bonds invested where they are. Nothing changes. But I'm able to get a line of credit leveraging them a second time that I can use that line of credit to buy whatever I want, like 5% interest credit line. So now I got my money working for me two different places. It's why it's my favorite kind of business financing, because it's already in the stock market making me money. And now I'm leveraging a double time, a second time. It doesn't even seem fair or legal, but it is, for whatever other purpose, in this case, real estate investing. So if you or someone around you has stocks or bonds, you could leverage that to be able to get financing up to 90% of the value of the stocks and bonds, and most types of stocks and bonds are accepted. So again, we start thinking about combining these strategies. We go get a DSCR loan, stated income, right? 10% down payment. Then I come in and use security-based financing to be able to cover the 10% I need for a DSCR loan. I love DSCR loans. I can't tell you enough, because they give us 90% financing on the real estate. We don't have to qualify based on income. It's stated income, so they're easy to be able to qualify for. And I can get like a ton of these things, like 10, 20 of these kind of loans. I just need that 10% down covered. And now we've talked about credit line hybrid. Now we've talked about 401k or ROBS program, self-directed IRAs. Now we've talked about securities-based financing. There's all this other way that we can get this other 10% down that we actually need to cover. Okay. And that brings me to strategy number 11, which is real estate crowdfunding. So when we think about crowdfunding, we typically think about Indiegogo. We think about Crowdfunder, right? Or we think about Indiegogo. We think about Kickstarter, But those are called rewards-based crowdfunding, which means that we're raising money from the crowd. We are raising money from the crowd, and we are doing it and giving them a reward of some aspect for lending money. So if you donate to my crowdfunding campaign $100 and I give you a t-shirt, you're getting a reward for the donation. Well, real estate crowdfunding is specifically designed for real estate investors. It's designed to marry the two people together, the person that's willing to do the work and the person that has the money. So if you're the person willing to do the work to invest into real estate, but you don't have the money, well, then this is perfect for you, because real estate crowdfunding, like Crowdfunder, for example, I mean, there's hundreds of these crowdfunding platforms out there. But Crowdfunder, for example, links together the borrower, you that's looking to do the work, and the backer, the one that has the money. And there's all kinds of real estate crowdfunding platforms out there where you could easily go to them and be able to get the money that you need from outside investors to be able to do the real estate. And of course, they're getting a rate of return. By the way, meetups are good for this as well. You'd be shocked at how many people out there have the money and don't want to do the work, and you're the one that wants to do the work and doesn't have the money. All you need to do is find the people that have the money. They're easy to find. Real estate crowdfunding, even meetups are great ways to be able to find them. Do some research. There's tremendous amounts of crowdfunding platforms out there to help with this. Syndication is number 12 on my list. Syndication is something that some of my absolute closest friends do. Okay, my friend Sarah, one of my best friends out in California, this is what she does. And what a syndication is we are raising money from normal, ordinary, average day people, and we are pooling their money together to buy real estate. So Sarah, for example, has all these investors and helps people like you go to your list and raise money from your own list. Then the money is all brought from these individual people, then is pulled together, in her case, to buy apartment complexes. She's buying 150 plus door apartment complexes using other people's money. Okay. Then she gets them a rate of return. They get their money back in like 5 years. And then once they're paid back, it's hers. Like the property is hers. So they make double, triple their money back. They're loving it. And then she's keeping the property when it's all said and done. So she's literally using other people's money to do all of the acquisition. And then in doing so, gets them their money back plus whatever they earned. Then she owns the property when it's all said and done. Okay. So an important type of financing that I love if you're good with people, if you're good with raising money, if you have a network, this is a phenomenal way to go because those people around you might make 820. I mean, Sarah's returns are like 20%. So people love it. They're getting way more return with her than they would with the stock market. And she loves it because she's able to get the money to invest in real estate without coming out of pocket. And she still gets to keep the property in the end. And Lawrence says, I appreciate your service. Your teaching techniques are well proven. Thank you very much, Lawrence. I appreciate that. So that is why it is number 12 on my list. Now, some extras I just want to throw in here. IP-backed loans, CD-backed loans, trademark-backed loans, cryptocurrency-backed loans. The idea here, even customer list loans. So let's think about any kind of assets that we have as individuals or business. Almost all of those can be leveraged to get money. I have money in the bank. I put it into a CD. I get a CD-backed loan from my bank. My business has IP, trademarks. I can use that to get money. I have cryptocurrency. I could leverage that to get money. So even though I told you 12, I just threw in like an extra 8. Now we just made this 20 different ways to get zero money down real estate because any of those assets in the business or individually could be pledged to be able to get collateral. You get low interest loan and you get money combined with these other strategies that can get you into real estate with zero money down. So let's do a quick recap here. Number one, we talked about was wholesaling, right? Where we come in, we find the seller, we buy the property that has enough room in it, we move it to another real estate investor, we assign the contract, we make our money and we're out. The BRRRR method, we are buying, we are rehabbing, we are then renting it, refinancing it, and repeating the process. We need money to do so. So next we talked about how to get that money. DSCR loans was number 3. 90% financing, stated income. Can't beat that. We just need to get the 10% down. How do we get the 10% down? Number 4, credit card stacking or credit line hybrid. Up to $150,000 at 0%. We combine it with DSCR and we're getting multitude of properties with no money down. Number 5 on the list, fix and flip financing. Are we buying a property and then fixing it and then flipping it? If so, we want to use this kind of house reseller program because we can get in with no money down to get all the money we need to buy and rehab the property. Speaking of rehabbing a property, if you're going to fix and flip, you're going to have to rehab. If you're going to buy and hold, you're going to need to probably put furniture and everything else in it. Or if you're not furnishing it for a long-term rental, you're going to have AC units, roofing, all types of things that need done. So we're going to want to use business credit for all those things. Business credit for our rehab cost, business credit to be able to furnish a short-term rental, business credit to be able to do the repairs on long-term rentals, let renter moved out, put holes in the drywall. I can get all that stuff at Home Depot, for example. So business credit 6 on the list, very important to combine with these other strategies. Number 7 on the list is personal loans. And we also talk about personal loan stacking. Remember, all personal loan means is it means it's based on your personal income, not your business revenue. So very, very good way to do it if you don't have a lot of revenue yet in your business and you're able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars with this kind of financing. Now we talked about number 8 on the list, revenue lending. We're looking at the revenue of the business to be able to qualify for financing. Okay, number 9 is we look at Rob's program or self-directed IRA. Roll over for business startup is Rob's, and we also have a self-directed IRA. Do you or someone around you has an IRA or 401k? With no tax penalties, you can roll that over into a separate account that you can use for real estate investing. Number 10 on the list, securities-based financing. We're using stocks and bonds, and we're double dipping, double leveraging that money. It's still invested into the stock market. That stays. We still earn our returns there. Then we get a credit line against the money that's in the stock market, and we use that for real estate investing, maybe even paying that 10% down, for example, on a DSCR loan. Number 11 on the list, real estate crowdfunding. This is where we're going to places like Crowdfunder, and we're actually going to people that have the money to invest but don't want to do the work. We're getting them money from them, and they're getting whatever, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% return. They get their return. I get the money and get my return. Everybody wins. Number 12 on the list, syndication. We're raising money from private individuals, and then we're pooling that money together into one fund and using that one fund to buy real estate. I use that example of my good friend Sarah in California that does this with 150 unit apartment complexes. And number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 on my list has to do with any kind of other asset that you have that can be leveraged for financing. Maybe your business has IP, it has trademarks. Maybe you have a lease on the property. Maybe you're a doctor. You could actually leverage your professional license, even licenses like liquor licenses as well. Okay. What other, do you have cryptocurrency? Do you have inventory? What assets do you individually or your business have? Almost any of those can be leveraged to be able to get financing. You could even use customer lists in your business to be able to leverage to be able to get financing. So that's like 13 through 20 options as well. So all in all, it gives you like 20 different ways to be able to combine these funding options and get in and get money with zero money down. Okay. Division and D Nero says stronger than most orgs. I appreciate that. I'm not sure. I think I appreciate that. Pauline Scott says, thank you for teaching this very valuable lesson about ways to invest in real estate with zero money down. So that is it for me. Now, if you want to learn about getting all of these financing options for your business, it's real simple. Go to creditsuite.com/get funding. That's creditsuite.com/get funding. And when you go there, you just fill out like a few questions, and then you'll go to our financing team, and our financing team could talk to you about these and many, many, many more options to be able to get the money that you need to be able to invest in real estate. Remember, real estate investing is one of the top industries we help because we have so many different types of financing that we offer. So if we can help you along the way, let us know. creditsuite.com/get funding. Hey, did you get value from this training? If so, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and then keep your eye out for our next training. We're talking about more cool ways to get the money you need to start and grow